First thing I do in the morning is I grab my smartphone and I check the weather, and we've got a weather warning today, and that is we're supposed to have 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm out here making sure I get everything tied up so they can withstand the winds. As you can see, my onions are so tall that whenever we get some wind, it just blows them completely over. Someone made a post on my YouTube channel that if you cut the green onions here off of the bulbs about 4 inches above the onions, that the bulbs will get bigger. I don't know that I'm too concerned about the bulbs getting bigger, because we got some pretty big bulbs, and these are bigger than softballs here. But I really don't want them to get torn up again with the wind. So I'm going to go through here and take my garden scissors, and I'm going to cut these down to, like I did this one here yesterday, to about this height. And that should help with the wind coming in, and it won't hurt the onion from what I understand. Well, I just got back from doing a little bit of research online about growing onions, and I found out that the post was correct, that if you cut the onion stalks short, the onion bulbs will get larger. I also have a friend of mine who used to garden in Ireland, and he told me that when he was young and worked in the onion fields, that they would just take the stalks and wrap them and tie them in a knot, and that would cause the bulbs to get larger. One technique is to let the stalks get about 9 inches tall, then cut them in half, then let them get about 12 inches tall and cut them in half, and then do it one more time. And then that will help the bulbs get as big as possible. Some of these stalks were 4.5 feet tall. I can't imagine how large these onions would have been if I had followed that protocol. And I also discovered some very interesting things. First of all, I found weeds that I didn't know were in here because they were covered up by all the greens of the onions. And also I found a lot of small onions that had tall, skinny stalks that were reaching for the sun, that were being blocked out because of all the foliage from the adjacent onions. So I think in the future I'm going to make sure that I'm thinning the greens in here so all the onions get the light that they need. I was able to clean out a lot of debris and make the garden a lot, I think, healthier place for the onions to grow. I don't know if this will help or hurt the onions. They're certainly big enough to harvest now. I don't need to worry about getting them any bigger, but I just didn't want to get them all just torn up in the wind again. I'm very happy with this crop. We have some very sizable onions here, and I'm sure they will be sweet because we're using the Mittleider weekly feed, and everything we are pulling out of these gardens is amazingly sweet. My wife is out of town for a few weeks, and she made a green smoothie by buying produce at the grocery store. She blended it up, took a sip, and the first thought she said was, "Man, this is bitter. I want my Mittleider greens." So proper nutrition, proper care, and maybe a haircut every now and then will help your plants grow. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And if you give your onions a haircut, maybe the bulbs will get larger, and you certainly won't have a mess to deal with when it's windy.